Once a favorite swimming spot, now a place full of horrific memories.
When it hit me, I don't know, it was just sharp pricks and it was hard. Something had hit me real bad.
Initially, Mark thought he'd been hit by the force of a boat propeller. He was only 25 meters from shore, splashing around with family and friends in a spot they'd been coming to for more than 20 years. But 5 minutes into his swim, in the middle of a backward roll, the wind was knocked out of him. He was struggling to breathe.
Halfway through the roll and this thing hit me from underwater.
Lake Argyle is about a half-hour drive from Connemara in the north of Western Australia and is a must-see on the tourist list. But visitors be warned, freshwater crocodiles also frequent this destination. Known as the Johnston's crocodile, this reptile is widespread across the northern regions of Australia. They prefer to live in the inland river systems and are thus known as the freshie, although they can tolerate quite high levels of salinity. They don't need a great deal of food to survive. Roughly 1 fish a week is enough, but if food is on offer, they'll take it. They're experts at building up their condition storing around 70% of their food, which allows them to go through the dry season without actually eating anything. They're an ambush predator, so beware. They'll be lurking, not wanting to attack, but ready if confronted.
Yeah, I didn't know which way it was up, which way it was down.
Up or down, confused, the crocodile had spun Mark around. He needed to escape the depths of the water. It was dark and there were no clues of how to get to the surface. He was on his own. The pressure was increasing in his ears. He needed to get air. Time was running out. He was wounded, bleeding, the realization sinking in as to what had happened.
I just remember the things going into my arm and my side and my chest and then the swoosh of the water coming around me, which I later learnt was the tail as it went in the other direction.
For Mark, he was living a nightmare, trying to get away from any further danger. For the freshwater crocodile, it wasn't much different.
The only reason it's biting you is to defend itself. It's not a food response. It's not an act of aggression towards you.
Nuala is part of a team of rangers at Billabong Sanctuary in Queensland that present a freshwater crocodile show on a daily basis for tourists. Safety is paramount to the show. Knowing crocodile behavior is the key to their safety.
Whoa! That crocodile's not going to try and take you away. It's going to bite you and then hope that you're going to run in the opposite direction.
For Mark, swimming in the opposite direction was his plan, but he was losing blood. He was disoriented. He only had use of one arm. Saving himself was his only thought, but panic had set in. Mark was trying to swim as well as he could, struggling against his injuries, struggling to find the right direction.
Well, I started swimming towards the middle of the lake where you can't even see land.
His confusion led him back to the spot where he'd been attacked.
Survival. I need to get back to shore. I'm ready for this thing to come a second time. I'm ready for it the next time.
He had to find the courage to swim over the top of where he'd last seen the crocodile.
I suppose like they do in the war, when you get shot, you run towards the enemy without thinking.
By now, time was critical for Mark. He was still a long way from the shore and miles from the closest town. And of course, he was still losing blood.
I had to go back, and by then I didn't have any air left in me. I was gasping for air, and I was trying to warn the other people that I'd been bitten, because I'd sort of worked out that time that my arm was, blood was coming out of it and it wasn't functioning.
The bite itself will be many lacerations in the sense that the teeth are very sharp and they're likely to pull at you, and so it would split your skin. You probably wouldn't be able to stitch that wound.
Mark's friends were quick to get him to safety, applying pressure bandages in an attempt to stop the bleeding. Keeping Mark still during the 25-minute drive to the hospital was paramount to his survival. His wounds were numerous, horrific, and almost cost him his life.
They can hold their breath for several hours. What they do is they actually slow their heart rate down. Okay, so they reduce the amount of oxygen they need to flow around their body, which enables them to stay submerged for longer periods. Okay, so they swim using their tails. That is the engine of a crocodile. When they're under the water, they will actually walk along the bottom of the river to save energy. But he's got numerous sharp teeth there. You can just see his nostril on the top. Just here are his ears, and these are his eyes.
Profiling the characteristics of the crocodile, it's hard to believe it's not considered to be aggressive.
Well, I had my arms above my head, you know, up here, and you know, the crocodile come down there and down there and there. Feet were over here.
Mark was covered in cut marks, marks from the teeth of the crocodile, as well as cuts caused by the feet scratching across his body.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of blood coming out there, and the pressure bandages on there and there, I think, really stopped me from losing the blood.
There's no doubt Mark's injuries were gruesome. It was very much a case of being in the wrong spot at the wrong time. The action of his friend saved his life, but there was one confronting fact yet to be revealed.
Well, the doctor was, she kind of quite graphic. She would like me to see what was going on, so she showed me the skin she was cutting off because it wasn't going to stitch up properly, and then she put a finger in there which went right up to past the second knuckle, you know, and she's flicking out this artery, and she's saying, "See that artery, Mark? If that was broken, you wouldn't be here to tell the story. You'd have lost all your blood." And she's just holding it.
92 stitches, a long course of antibiotics, and many scars have led to a newfound respect for this incredible animal.
They can move very quickly, and they can also jump reasonable heights, so you have to have your wits about you. In the wild, freshwater crocodiles will actually shy away from people. So if I was out with my fishing rod heading down to the water's edge, making noise, talking to you guys, these guys in the wild would shoot off. They would realise that something big is coming and they don't want to interact with it. The fact that these guys live in captivity, they understand that us rangers coming into the enclosure means that their food is on, okay, or potentially. So that is why they approach us.
Crocodiles have great camouflage ability. They range in color from browns through to greens and yellows, enabling them to be well hidden in river systems and billabongs. This gives them that element of surprise over their prey, and when they feel threatened.
I've not had any close calls yet. We do work in a controlled situation, so we try and minimise the risk, and if we feel there is going to be an issue, we won't even go in. Working with crocodiles and freshwater crocodiles brings an excitement that cannot be compared with any other job. Okay, your heart races, you have to think quickly. It's an exciting job, and I love it.